This just in, breaking news, we have found the government, and the government has been found inside of a woman's uterus. And not just one woman's uterus, every woman's uterus. Now we'll go to Avni Kara, who has the scoop on this. Thanks, Avni. We did in fact find the government in a uterus. In fact, we found it in multiple uteruses of multiple women. In fact, all women in America. It has been found in all women in America. And something to note is that the government being found in uteruses does mean that they have been able to have control over access to abortions and abortion laws. And just a refresher, abortion is a constitutional right protected by the Roe v. Wade Supreme Court case. All women have the right to safe and legal abortion. And unfortunately, this does mean different things in different states. However, I just want to point out that only 1 in 4 women do have abortions in their lifetime as of 2014. And I also want to point out that there are women who will get an abortion whether or not it is legal. Unfortunately, 4.7 to 13.2 maternal deaths are caused by unsafe abortions. So if we can improve access to safe and legal abortion, these deaths and risks will be lowered greatly. And this can be prevented. It's so easy to prevent this. We just have to focus on improving sex education, less restrictive laws, fewer political and religious obstacles, and lowering the social stigma against abortions is so important. And restrictive abortion laws do lead to unsafe abortions, which is a tragedy for sure. And different states, they do have different laws depending on how soon in the pregnancy a woman would be allowed to have the abortion. And unfortunately, a lot of states do have bans after a certain point, including after 20 weeks. And I don't know about you, Avni, but this seems kind of restrictive, and it seems like women don't have equal rights when it comes to their decisions and their health care. But that's what we found today. The government is in everyone's uterus, every woman's uterus, or every person who has a uterus. That is where the government is. It's in those. Back to you, Avni. Wow, Avni, that is really interesting news. Thanks for that scoop. Just so our viewers know at home, abortions are on their way to being banned altogether if 20-week bans are approved. So just keep that in mind for the future. Simply put, 20-week bans are bans on abortion for women who are more than 20 weeks pregnant. And this is actually unconstitutional and criminalizes doctors, and this can lead to 5 years in prison for some. It's important to note that 99% of abortions do occur before 20 weeks. However, in some special circumstances, they are necessary for women who are past the 20-week mark. 43 states at this point do ban abortion at some point in a woman's pregnancy. 22 states ban abortions between 13 to 24 weeks since a woman's last period. And 19 states, including Alabama, Arkansas, Georgia, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Mississippi, Nebraska, North Carolina, North Dakota, Ohio, Oklahoma, South Carolina, South Dakota, Texas, West Virginia, and Wisconsin ban abortion after 20 weeks. Here we have a map that will help you understand the gravity of how many states ban these abortions. This is also an indicator of how urgently we need to repeal 20-week abortion bans. It is important to note that current policy shows that representatives try to introduce bills under the guise of harmful names such as Pain-Capable Unborn Child Act and the Women's Health Defense Act. In fact, the Pain-Capable Unborn Child Act passed in the House of Representatives in 2017. This bill amends the federal criminal code to make it a crime for any persons to perform or attempt to perform an abortion if the probable post-fertilization age of the fetus is 20 weeks or more. The bill provides exceptions for an abortion. One is that it is necessary to save the life of the pregnant woman, or two, when the pregnancy is the result of rape or incest, and the physician who performs or attempts to perform the abortion under an exemption must comply with specified requirements. This means that even if the baby will be put at risk at birth, have health defects that can alter its life forever, or will suffer during its birth or life, the woman must carry the baby to term. Even if the fetus is in danger, the woman must carry it to term. And these bills are steps towards banning abortion altogether. Now we'll go to Avni Kara, who is an activist in the Washington, D.C. metro area who is working towards repealing 20-week bans in the United States as a whole. Thanks, Avni. My name is Avni, and I'm an advocate for repealing 20-week bans on abortions. And I'm super passionate about this because a lot of women might not be able to financially support a child, might not be able to financially support a pregnancy, and there are a lot of different factors that go into a pregnancy and raising a child that they might not be ready for. But a lot of times at 20 weeks, women don't want to have the abortion. A lot of times they have to have the abortion, either for the sake of their own health or for the sake of the baby. There have been case studies and reports that show that a lot of times women who have 20-week abortions after 20 weeks, there's something wrong with the baby. Like, one woman on the Planned Parenthood website said that all of the organs inside the baby's body had developed in the wrong places, so the baby would have been born without a heart. And the woman said she had to deal with either carrying the baby to term just to have a stillbirth or to terminate the pregnancy after 20 weeks. And a lot of times these health defects aren't even visible in ultrasounds until after 20 weeks. So it's a difficult decision for women, but sometimes it's the only option. Additionally, there have been doctors who have proven that there's no factual evidence showing that fetuses even have the neurological structures at 20 weeks, that they're not fully working. According to Jennifer Conti, who is a clinical assistant professor and OBGYN at Stanford University, has said this before, that the 20-week limit isn't backed by science. It's just an arbitrary number that politicians have come up with. Abortions are already traumatizing for women. A lot of women don't want to have to go through that in their life, but don't see another way out. No matter what the reason is, it shouldn't be the choice of the government. This should be a decision that is between a woman and her doctor. Imposing these 20-week bans is unconstitutional, and it also is a gateway to banning abortions altogether. Thanks for having me. My name is Avni, and we'll send it back to you, Avni. Thanks, Avni, for taking the time out of your day to help us learn more about these 20-week bans and how harmful they are to women's rights and women's health care. This isn't just a women's rights issue, it's a human rights issue. So to our viewers at home who may be wondering what they can do, here are some options. First, you can educate yourself on recognizing coded language. A lot of times our representatives will use acts under the guise of helpful words in order to actually harm women, such as the Pain Capable Unborn Child Act and the Women's Health Defense Act. These sound like they would be helping women and unborn children. However, they harm women and they harm women's rights to health care. You can also call your representatives and write to them. You can tell them that you do not stand for these 20-week bans. Finally, you can educate yourself on sexual health, reproductive health, and abortion rights. This will help destigmatize abortions and women's reproductive health. You can check out the list of resources that will be in the description of this video for more help and more information. Thank you for watching this episode, and I hope that you take some of these calls to action into consideration, and I hope that you understand the gravity of what 20-week bans can do to women and their healthcare rights. Again, this isn't just a women's rights issue, this is a human's rights issue. I'm Avni Kara. Thank you and good night.